Picture this. You're at home having a relaxing day playing some Clash Royale. You hop into a match to start some friendly competition and see if you can catch some sweet dubs. Everything's going great. You're getting a good bit of damage, and so is your opponent, but you think you can edge this one out. You taste victory at your fingertips, when all of a sudden, your opponent finds a way into your defenses and quickly 3 crowns you. Oh no. Well, good game. Well played, right? Only to realize there's a massive baby at the other end of the screen that starts spamming BM at you despite the match being so close. You've just become a victim of toxic emote abuse. Bailey's dead. Honestly, I can't think of anything more infuriating than that. And that's the topic of today's video, is the top 10 most hated Clash Royale emotes. Of course, this list is entirely my opinion, so if you think something different, please let me know in the comments below. Coming in at number 10 is the Dabbing Wizard emote. So I had to think long and hard about all the options that I had to pick from, and where to start was kind of challenging, but I knew after looking at all the options that the Dabbing Wizard was that perfect 10th position, because it's infuriating in the wrong context. If somebody is spamming the Dabbing Wizard emote when they're winning and when it's an obvious victory for them, then it's absolutely so maddening. But when somebody's using it in any other context, it turns comedic. So the Dabbing Wizard is kind of like a funny callback. Obviously, it's a reference to the dab right there. The thing is, it's right in the middle between being so aggressive and actually kind of funny. So to me, it doesn't go beyond the 10th place spot, because even if somebody's winning for me and I see that and they see the dab, it's kind of funny. Coming in at number 9 is the Sleeping Hog emote. This one starts crawling deeper and deeper under my skin the more I see it, because it has a double meaning, right? If they're making good plays and they're doing something right, they could spam the Sleeping Hog emote to sort of say, wow, that was so easy, I could have done that in my sleep. But then the other side of it is when you make a misplay and they start spamming that freaking Sleeping Hog emote on you. It says to me that they're trying to tell you, bro, are you asleep at the wheel? What are you doing? Like, that was such a dumb play. You're sleeping. Cut that out. So for sure, the Sleeping Hog cracks the top 10 most hated emotes in my book. Coming in at number 8 is the Screaming Hog Rider. How could this not end up in the top 10 most hated emotes in Clash Royale? It's super obvious. The sound is what does it. It's toxic on a level that is just so horrific to the ears. You spam that puppy over and over, and it is going to tilt your opponent just because it's such an obnoxious sound. You could use that in the same context as the last emote, where if you're winning or you end the game, right? Or somebody makes a mistake and you spam that emote, that scream, it sort of says, like, ironically, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Even though I'm happy that you made that mistake, or I'm happy that you just lost, or I'm happy that you couldn't figure out my offense. And you spam the Hog Rider emote and it just cuts me to the bone, man. So that is definitely in the top 10 for the most annoying and hated emotes in Clash Royale. Coming in at number 7 is the Stabbing Goblin Dagger. This one starts crossing over into a weird aggressive territory of BM emotes in Clash Royale, because it's no longer fun in games. This one sort of signals like, I'm gonna cut you. It's some prison language right here. Like the Goblin Dagger shanking you in the middle of a game with that noise that's not only like aggressive and anger inducing, but it's kind of scary too. It's in the wrong moment, infuriating indeed, but also it says like, I don't care about you at all. Like, I'm glad you're dying, and here's a couple of stabs to go with the victory that I'm giving you. So for sure, that easily makes the top 10 most hated emotes in the game. Coming in at number 6 is an oldie but a goodie, the Crying King. One of the first emotes ever given in the game. You start out the game and you get 4 emotes. You get a thumbs up, you get a king laughter, you get a king anger, and you get a king crying. And this one means 2 different things, as you know, but placed in the wrong moment, it is one of the most toxic things you could ever do in a game. If your opponent is losing and you are up a tower or you are up 2 towers and he cannot get a playthrough and you hit that crying emote on the offensive side, you're telling your opponent, oh, boo-hoo, ironically again, I'm so sad for you. I'm sorry. Here's my tears. Yeah, right. I'm glad I'm going to beat you. I'm going to get 2 crowns and I'm going to win the game. Meanwhile, you're either going, oh my goodness, I hate this game, or you're fuming in your head, fuming at the fact that this person is kicking you while you're down. It's not fair, and it easily makes my top 10 most hated emotes in Clash Royale. Coming in at number 5 is the Giant Rock Crush. This emote says a lot of things. Picture it, right? There's a giant, and he's got a rock in his hand. It kind of is symbolic, right? He's got you in the palm of his hand. And what does he do? He doesn't gently put it down or caress it or tell it, you know, good job, you're my pet rock, I love you. He literally takes it, puts all his strength into it, and crushes it into dust. And that's what that emote is saying when you use it on someone. It says, you're just a little tiny pebble in the palm of my hand, and I am crushing you. That is so frustrating to see at the end of a losing game or at the end of a losing play when your opponent goes ahead and tells you you're a little worthless rock in my hand and I'm gonna crush you. That is so aggressive, dude, and for sure easily makes the top 10 most hated emotes in the game. Coming in at number 4 is the Chewing Ram. This one holds a special place on the list. The reason why it's so high up is because actually it's kind of rare. I wonder how many of you actually have this emote. Let me know in the comments below if you unlocked it. You got it from a special challenge when the Ram Rider was being released a while ago, and really it's one of those emotes. It's another one a lot like the Rock Crush, but I think in some ways even more aggressive because it shows the facial expressions of the ram. It's the same thing as the Crush, except for it's in the ram's mouth. So it's saying, I've got you, you're a piece of candy, you're a piece of food, you're nothing but something for me to consume, and I am chewing on you with no emotion. If you look at that ram's face, it is a stone cold killer. No emotions on its face.
Stop it. Get some help.
Just straight up chewing like it doesn't even care, bro. It's so aggressive and so toxic when you actually see it in the arena. So it easily makes the list of top 10 most hated. Coming in at number 3 is the Yawning Princess. Oh my gosh, this one is frustrating on so many levels. Number 1, the imagery, right? You see the princess and she's like, ooh, and then of course you get that sound, that horrendous sound. It blends the noise of the Hog Rider with some of the aggressiveness of the other emotes we've already seen and puts it all into one horrific package. Especially if people spam it. You hear the ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, never doing that again. Your opponent is literally saying to you, I do not care what you're doing. This play is boring to me. I'm not quite asleep, but you're putting me to sleep by what you're doing. So for those reasons, this one easily makes the top 10 most hated. Coming in at number 2 on the most hated list is the Raspberry Goblin. You know this one very well. It is one of the most aggressive emotes in the entire game by far, in my opinion, because it blends a lot of the stuff we talked about with the princess, but adds a whole other level of aggression, right? Whereas the princess emote had the horrible noise and the ridiculous imagery and combined it, at least the Yawning Princess was kind of like lackadaisical, right? Just kind of casually falling asleep at your plays, even though it's really aggravating. But this one is a deliberate, kind of like a spit in your face, right? You see the goblin and he's got this totally annoyed face on. He's like, and then he hits you with the, and it's just game over for me, dude. That is such tilt-worthy material right there, especially when somebody's just won a game, just beat me, and they kick me while I'm down with that ugly, ugly emote, and they spit in my face with the Goblin Man, and it's so loud too. I really think that this is one of the loudest emotes that they've made in the game to fit it perfectly as one of the most hated, in my opinion. And finally, coming in at number 1 is the Crown Hammer. You guys and girls, I'm not kidding. This is the most offensive. I sat and looked through every single emote in the game over and over, reviewing just to make sure that I had this list as fine-tuned to what murders the inside of my soul in this game to a T, and I found that this is the most offensive thing you can play against me or anyone, in my opinion, at all in Clash Royale. Here's why. Whereas the stabbing goblin, right, was just stabbing in the air, you kind of at least can envision, oh, maybe he's not stabbing me, right? The raspberry goblin was blowing in your face, kind of like spitting. And so that's pretty aggressive, but nothing is more aggressive than taking a gigantic stone hammer or metal hammer and smashing you over and over and over the head in your crown until your crown is flattened into nothingness. That is the most psychotic and abusive thing you could ever spam to your opponent, whether you're winning or you're losing. I don't recommend you ever use that against someone because you are guaranteed to tilt them, unless that's part of your strategy. And if it is, by the way, savage, don't do that. Be nice to people. You'll have more friends in this life. But to me, that's the pinnacle of savagery. The pinnacle of most hated emotes is that crown hammer. What did you guys think of this list? Do you agree or disagree with my top 10? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you liked what you saw, please leave us a thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down, and let us know why you didn't like it in the comments. Thank you so much for watching again, and I will see you next week. I'm Bailey's dad.